Hi, welcome to Linda Tillman Creates. I'm Linda, and today we're going to make this card where I use stencils and Distress Oxide inks and technique that I learned from Tiffany Solario, and then some other techniques that I picked up along the way from other crafters that I love to watch. So there I used Chip Sapphire, now I'm doing Salty Ocean, and then I'm going to take some Brutus Monroe Surface Spray Oz and mix it in there because I don't have any of the Distress Oxide sprays or anything like that. So I'm just mixing them, spraying it with some water, and then I'm going to spray the paper with water and get it all good and wet and everything, make a nice mess there. And I'm just going to turn it over and lay it down on it and smush it and pick up the color. Oh, I forgot that I laid the stencil over it to do that. And now I'm smushing the stencil in and just picking up some ink and laying it down on the paper. And I'm going to wipe my surface here in a minute. No, I'm not. I'm going to add some more of the Oz and add some more water to it because it's not messy enough. I got to make a bigger mess. And now I'm going to smush some more ink with my stamps. And when there's little bubbles in the little holes, I kind of blow them out. Not to get so I don't get a blob. I just pop the bubbles by blowing on them. And lay that down to give a little texture to the card, to the background. Now I'm just going to blob that there. I'm just playing. And that's the best way to learn how to do all this is just play. You'd be surprised. So now I'm smushing some more on. Smushy, smushy, smushy. And like I said, that's the Oz color is a very pretty color. I don't know if he carries any of that product any longer. And that stencil is a pattern in Cricut Design Space that I cut out with my Cricut. So I made that stencil. I do love my Cricut for making my own stencils. It's like a Moroccan or something. I forget what it was called. So there I am putting down Preserve, Festive Berries, and Seedless Preserves. That's what it was. Seedless Preserves, and I'm spraying it with water. And I love how that, I'm spraying the paper down with water again also. I love how the Festive Berries is like an orangish kind of color. And that Seedless Preserve is just beautiful. But I keep adding color to this background until I'm happy with it. You notice it just looks like a horrid, junky pile right now. But I keep playing. Now we're going to add some more stuff. What are we going to add? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not good at these voiceovers. Okay, so this one is, it's Brutus Monroe Green. I'm trying to find it so I can tell you the color. No, it's not. I think it's the Oz again. Oh, wait. No, that was the cornflower. Yeah, look at that. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, that's so pretty. And I try to blow it. I don't have one of those fancy little things that can blow the air around. Or you get a straw or something. And the paper I'm using is not really made for all this. It's not a multimedia paper. It's the Nina Solar White cardstock. So I have to use my heat gun, which is a Nicole heat gun I got off of Amazon for like $17 or something. And I'm just heat drying the paper. And it's, my heat gun has got paint and stuff all over it because I've had it for quite a few years now. And I use it for everything. So, I'm just drying the paper up so that it can handle more color. And I'm just not happy with the background yet, but we're going to be. Or am I? I think I am. I think I'm happy with it because I'm cutting it. And it was still a little too wet to go into the trimmer. For some reason, I'm seeing it looking different. I must add more color to this. I do. Here we go. That's right. I stenciled Chip Sapphire. So that color I'm using is Chip Sapphire, and I blend some color over with the stencil. It's funny how I can do this and then forget I did this. So anyway, here I am holding it down instead of taping it, which is okay if that's how you want to do it. But I'm just going over, because to me it just didn't have enough texture. It just didn't look quite right. I'm adjusting the stencil. And I'm not going in every single spot. I'm just adding a little extra color, that's all. Just a little more oomph to the card or something, because it just wasn't oomph enough. That Chip Sapphire just like really sets it off. And then I'm really happy with it from there. So now I'm going to heat dry it again. And once I'm done once I'm done drying this, then I'm going to trim it up a little. There I go, trimming it up. So that way I can make an actual card with this that actually looks decent. It's funny how once you trim it, how it changes, and it just, like, yeah, that looks better. And I didn't really measure this properly. So it should have been the 4 by 5 1/4, but my measurement was off just a little. But it still turned out to be pretty. So anyway, it didn't cut all the way properly, so I used my scissors on that one end side. So there we go. Now we got it all done, and we're going to get our Misty out, and we're going to get our Close to My Heart Random Acts Cardness stamp set. And we're going to use the saying that says, "Lucky to have a friend like you." And then we're going to use Versamark clear pigment ink, and then we're going to use our embossing buddy. And I'm getting out my Misty. And we're going to put the card and the stamp in there. Get it all lined up where we want it. That way we can stamp it a couple times. But first, we're going to go over it with the embossing powder. No, the embossing buddy powder. Oh, no, wait. First, we're going to align our stamp. No, yeah. Oh, that's what we're doing. We're aligning the stamp. I'm being funny now. If you're watching me and you're still watching this, thank you. So here we are. We're making sure that that powder is all over this card, because I do not want the embossing powder anywhere other than where I'm putting it. And if you buy embossing powders, that embossing buddy I've had for a couple of years. I mean, I don't do a whole lot of I don't like emboss every day or something, but I've had it for a couple of years now, and it's still working. It's still working great. So there we are. Stamp 1, like Daniel West says, stamp 1 to pick up the powder, stamp 2 to lay down the ink. I think sometimes he stamps 3 times, but I didn't need to do that because that was a new pad. It was a gift, thankfully. But anyway, so now we're going to get out our Brutus Monroe. First I'm going to get a piece of copy paper, and then we're going to get Brutus Monroe's denim embossing powder. And we're going to put some powder on there, and then we're going to tap off any excess that we don't like. And we're going to look at it and we're going to say, yep, that's good. And we're going to put our powder back into the jar. And this little thing here, these embossing powders last forever, because you think you're using a whole lot on it, but you're really not. You think, oh, these are little tiny jars, but guess what? There's a lot in those little jars as far as how much you can make. So now we just got to get our heat gun, and I'm going to lower you down so you can see what I'm doing. so you can watch it emboss. It's funny how the thing changes colors when you move the white paper and stuff out. But anyway, we're heat embossing it. And I don't know if you can actually see it because of the way I've got the heat gun. If you can see it changing. I think that's so pretty. I love how the powder melts and how it ends up looking. It's so cool. So here I am checking the coloring because the way the light is hitting it, it's making my thing look a little... So I'm hitting it with the heat gun one more time just to be sure that it's done right without being burnt. And I like that denim on top of those colors. I think it goes good together. And now we're going to trim it up. Oh no, now we're going to make our base, our card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5. Because then we're cutting this at 5.5 inches. And the paper was originally 8.5 by 11, so we're leaving the 8.5 length and just cutting the 5.5. And now we're going to score it at 4.25. Score right there, 4.25. Because this is an A2 card, I'm folding it over in there, and I'm using May May's tip of leaving it on the scoreboard when you fold it, so you can use those corners to help you line it up. And then just a little extra little go over it. And then we're going to glue the mat down, the background mat that we just made, onto the card base. And I put the glue on the card base when I did this instead of on the actual mat, like I would normally do, because I was thinking that was going to be bigger than the card and I was going to have to trim it down, but it wasn't. It was shorter than the measurements, and I forgot that. I, for some reason, was thinking it was bigger. But anyway, it turned out good. It turned out okay. I didn't have to do any trimming. I just had to wipe excess glue up and then push my card down because it still had a couple of little wrinkles from being the heat gun, which curls the paper. But there we go. Thank you for watching. And if you're not subscribed, please go ahead and click that little subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Hit that little like button, please. Share to social medias. Let people find me. And come August 4th, we'll start doing lives again. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. So long, farewell.